After returning to Suwon Town, Sungwoo gives the Asura's robe to Hanho. Hanho becomes really happy and activates the Asura robe right away. Hang informs Sungwoo that he now has the power of the pirate Admiral Chen, who almost annihilated Sungwoo. Sungwoo says that he never got beaten by him, and then Hanho makes a weird face while playing the secret video where Sungwoo is about to die. At the same time, Jisoo-yoon received her gift as well, and she is smiling like a creep. Hanho informs Sungwoo that he brought the gift at the right time because Jisoo-yoon just wasted all of her money in the shop, and she got nothing good. Jisoo-yoon thanks Sungwoo from the bottom of her heart. Hanho starts updating Sungwoo about the ongoing war between the Crusader Guild and the Reconstruction Alliance. It turns out the Crusader Guild is winning, and now the Reconstruction Guild is left with only one stronghold. Sungwoo remembered that previously the notification said that when a guild loses a total of 3 strongholds, then a 30% buff for attack and defense will be given to the winner for 7 days. When the war began, the Reconstruction Alliance took the upper hand through a sneak attack, but it looks like the Crusader Guild has turned the tables. There is something Sungwoo is sure about. Both of these guilds are not strong enough to pose a threat to him. Sungwoo is now in a completely different league. For now, he will continue growing the world tree and take over the Korean server. With that, he will get closer to the cause of this phenomenon and find a way to fix it. Meanwhile, on the other side, the last stronghold of the Reconstruction Alliance had just been destroyed. Min Hyun-seong announces that they have finally won the war. The prosecutor gives the official statement relating to the metropolitan area skirmish. In his statement, he says that those who are already part of the faction must have already received the news through the system, but I announce that the Angel faction, whose main guild is us, the Liberation Guild, has won the metropolitan area skirmish. However, we ultimately pursue peace and unity, and as such, we do not wish to capture others through raw power. This notice goes to the Devil faction. If you are willing to give up on this meaningless fight, then surrender through an official announcement and receive the following orders from the Liberation Guild. The prosecutor is giving them 24 hours to make their final decision. Hanho says that this war just ended so easily, and he says that maybe the prosecutor is planning to create a union of his own. Sungwoo says that there is more to this quest, as this quest is called the Metropolitan Area Scramble 1. A second war quest called Metropolitan Area Scramble 2 appears at the same time. All 3 factions present in the Korean server need to participate in it. The rewards for this quest are 5 legendary ranked item boxes. The first faction to raid and conquer the large-scale dungeon, the Amugi Cave on Bukhan Mountain, will win. This event will begin after 35 hours, and each faction can enter the Amugi Cave from a different entrance. Jisoo-yoon says that the system never lets go of an opportunity to make the humans suffer, and she asks Sungwoo if they are going to join this quest. Sungwoo says that they will join because the end of the 3 factions' war is almost here. Bukhan Mountain is just a normal mountain area with nothing of interest. All of a sudden, vines start popping out of the rocks. These vines soon turn into gigantic trees. A female reporter who was near the Bukhan Mountain reports the current development. It turns out that the geography of the Bukhan Mountain has completely changed. The entire Bukhan Mountain has been covered by a giant dome of what looks like a devil forest that won't even let in a single ray of sunlight. All of a sudden, a part of the mountain gets blasted. An enormous snake appears from the blast. The reporter announces that in just 34 hours, the 3 factions will participate in the event and face each other, and she is curious to watch which side wins. Min Hyun-seong says that now they are left with no other choice but to fight with the Necromancer. The prosecutor is not sure if they are going to win this, but as long as they are at the mercy of the system, there is a strong chance of them fighting against Sungwoo in the future. Not just the prosecutor, but even the other Liberation Guild members are feeling uneasy about it. The prosecutor slams the table while telling them that he is not planning on losing this event. Luckily, the Devil faction lost their power during the last mission, and now they can focus their attention on the Necromancer. Manhwa Recap says that she will start preparing some counters for the Necromancer and his undead army. At the same time, Manhwa Recap finds something bizarre. It turns out a support force has joined the Devil faction. Another guild called the Conflict Guild, which has 12,454 members, will participate in this war. Their representative announces that 254 members of their guild will participate in this raid from the side of the Dark faction. Most players don't know about them because all this time, they were busy surviving in the Taebaek Mountains. It's an area filled with countless monsters along with its warlord. They have been fighting non-stop until recently, and finally, they came out victorious. They will not just stop here. They will go to a new battlefield and win once more. After some time, the system announces a gambling event. The winning faction will receive 1% of the total betting amount as prize money. On correctly predicting the winner, dividends will be paid according to the dividend rate, excluding 1% of the prize money for the winning faction. The prosecutor becomes angry after hearing it as he thinks the system is playing with their lives. Sungwoo suggests that they should start acting weak, so that would make people think that they will lose. Sungwoo hands over this difficult mission to their propaganda expert Hanho, and Hanho agrees to it. Jisoo-yeon says that this betting thing is wrong, but Hanho puts her in her place by saying that you should be the last person to say it, as you wasted all of your money on those gacha shops. Jisoo-yeon starts feeling bad while Sungwoo asks them about how they should act weak. Hanho says that they can use those people. At the same time, the Liberation Guild gets summoned by the prosecutor. The prosecutor announces that they will lead the dungeon raid on Bukhan Mountain to victory, as well as this second scramble. Since they received a 30% buff after the last mission, they are currently the ones most likely to win. The legendary item they receive will be shared with the groups participating in the Metropolitan Player Union, which is being created right now. The chat is rooting for the Crusader Guild as well because the Necromancer never takes in low-level players, but the Crusader Guild even takes in people who are of no use to them. At the same time, the Reconstruction Guild is making an announcement as well. Finally, the chairman of the Reconstruction Guild makes a public appearance. One of the reporters recognizes him as Chairman Lee Young-wan. This Young-wan guy got the title of a bulldozer even before the world changed into a game. He was quite rich, and he had a notorious reputation. Young-wan says that if you know who I am, then you must probably know how much I have contributed to this country's growth. Just like how they elevated their country through business, they will also lead the revival of the Devil faction. And they are not the only ones in the Devil faction. From what he knows, there are many players in Busan who belong to the Devil faction. He would like to get in touch with them, and they are willing to provide them with 2 of the reward items from this event. In addition to that, 1 legendary item will be given to an independent player who chooses to join their faction. The method is simple. They need to keep their betting vouchers safe and come to the Devil faction. More details will be announced on the community page. The chat quickly buys into the promise of the chairman, and they are eager to join the Devil faction. Someone from outside the Suwon town posts a thread stating that he is outside the 3rd faction main base and he can see some smoke coming out. His hideout is near Suwon town, and while passing by, he comes across a giant smoke cloud. This could be a sneak attack. He can even hear people fighting. He is not sure if someone attacked them while they had their guard down due to the upcoming scramble. The chat is not buying this since they know the true power of the Necromancer, but Hanho tells them through a fake account that he saw some people leaving after this invasion. The damage is pretty big, and it looks like the Necromancer was caught off guard. This news quickly spreads like wildfire throughout the Korean server. The chat is now predicting that maybe the Necromancer is dead, or he is gravely wounded, and some even say that maybe the one who attacked him is a reclusive, overpowered character. In just a few minutes, the islanders, including the Griffin, come to the conclusion that it is all a scam. The next day, Hanho got a studio prepared. The comment section on that propaganda post is going as he wanted, and now he wants to get some actors in. Suwon Town manages to convince the assassin prisoners for this task. Their leader is a bit hesitant as he knows that their company will not like it because they value credit, and getting involved in manipulation tactics will tarnish their reputation. Spearman Kyung-soo tells him that it doesn't matter if the company likes it or not, and they will get their heads smashed in if they refuse to do this job. Plus, if they pull something funny, then Sungwoo will resurrect their dead bodies and make them suffer for eternity. The assassin squad leader agrees to cooperate after taking a single glance at Sungwoo. With that being said, the hunter squad leader comes to the stage, and they announce that they have dealt a heavy blow to the Necromancer and his town. At the same time, the Liberation Guild releases an official statement saying that those who are already part of the faction must have received the news through the system. But he announces that the Angel faction, whose main axis is the Liberation Guild, has won the first metropolitan area scramble. However, they ultimately pursue peace and unity, and as such, they do not wish to capture others through martial prowess. This notice goes to the Devil faction. If you are willing to give up on this meaningless fight, surrender through an official announcement and proceed with the follow-up from the Crusader Guild. We will grant you 24 hours to decide. There is only 1 day left, and the people have bet on the Angel faction the most, with 69 million gold coins. The Devil faction is in second number with 63 million gold coins, while the third faction has only 4 million coins placed on them. Hanho says that the number of people betting on them has drastically decreased, but there are still some people who did not fall for this propaganda. Sungwoo says that these people must be quite good at telling which news on social media is fake or not. Sungwoo informs his party that they will head towards Bukun Mountain as late as possible, so that way people might think they will not even show up. Hanho gets excited, and he says that he cannot wait to show off his Asura form in the field. The next day, the Liberation Guild heads toward the mountain on their helicopters. After entering the competition area, they get a notification stating that player killing is not allowed in this area. In case someone attacks another player, he will be automatically declared dead. The Angel and Devil factions come face to face outside the entrance, and they start cursing each other. The Conflict Guild is present there as well, and the Crusaders start making fun of them while saying that they are mountain introverts who have only fought some no-name monsters back at their home, and they will not contribute anything to this actual raid. The Conflict Guild players reply to them by saying that they will not be spewing those fancy words once they plant their axe on their forehead. There are some reporters present right outside the entrance, and they are streaming this live for their viewers. There are now 1 hour and 10 minutes left until the timer is up. Both Devil and Angel faction have gathered there. The reporter says that maybe the Necromancer really took some irrecoverable damage, just like the Hunter Company claimed. A bald assistant tells the newscaster to look up at the sky. Every player becomes amazed after seeing something in the air. It turns out to be Sungwoo, who came to the party with his squad of wyverns. They land near the other players. The players can clearly see that they look fine, unlike the rumors. The reporter asks Sungwoo if she can have an interview with him. Sungwoo moves past her without replying to her. The reporter keeps on begging Sungwoo for an answer, but she gets no reply. The reporter and her team become furious, and they start cursing Sungwoo behind his back. Sungwoo heads toward the prosecutor, and both of them do a standoff. The prosecutor says that he has no idea what can happen inside the cave, but as long as they don't cross paths, they won't have to fight each other. The prosecutor, in reality, doesn't want to hurt Sungwoo as they were allies in the past, and he owes him a lot. But if push comes to shove, then they are both ready to take each other's lives. The Devil faction members are wondering about what must have gone down between these two big shots. Their leader is a bit furious as he now knows that the Necromancer was not attacked at all, and that this was all propaganda done by the Necromancer. He further says that the Necromancer is a slippery bastard, and even in these end times that guy is only thinking about money. One of his assistants opens up a case with 4 divine blood arrows. Their rank is unknown, and they were produced by a player. These arrows can concentrate strong divine power, and they deal additional damage to undead attributes. On a hit, they deal 2000% damage, and they apply a fatal purification effect on the undead. Its description says that this weapon was created after long research and improvements, and no one will believe it if they are told that this item was created after boiling 10 priests alive. It will deal a critical hit if it hits the Necromancer's heart, using the marker's skill. Chairman Lee informs his lackeys that they only have 4 arrows, and they must use them properly. The member of the Conflict Guild is quite impressed with this high-tier item. Chairman Lee warns them to never underestimate the Necromancer. The moment they miss their first arrow, the Necromancer will be on alert, and they will not be able to land the other 3 shots. The Conflict Guild member says that this item is a perfect counter for the Necromancer, and asks where he got it from. Chairman Lee tells him that he is not obliged to tell him his source. The Conflict Guild tells the chairman to not worry about anything, and the chairman warns them that the Necromancer is not the only one they should be worried about. The Swordmaster woman right next to him is quite strong as well. That girl is at rank 5 in the Korean server, and she didn't get to this high rank with only the help of the Necromancer. In the video where they swept out the pirates, she single-handedly defeated the beast that was annihilating the tanks. The situation may change depending on that girl, so the chairman tells him to deal with her first once the battle starts. Meanwhile, on the other side, Sungwoo goes up to the entrance, which is marked for the 3rd guild. Sungwoo says that it feels good that each faction gets to have its own entrance, and Hanho says that he is feeling a little bit left out, as if no one considers him a threat. After some time, the winner prediction betting ends. The Angel faction is on 170 million gold, while the Devil faction is on 163 million gold coins, and the third faction is on the last number with 95 million gold coins. A total of 400 million gold coins were placed in this event, and the winning faction will get 4 million gold coins. The most money placed on the third faction was spent by Sungwoo and his allies, and if they won, they would get a lot of money in return. A total of 70 million gold coins were placed by the third faction, and they will be getting around 296 million coins once they win this raid. Sungwoo and his faction are at a disadvantage when it comes to gathering funds, as it's a small group of elite players. At times like this, they will take the other faction's money little by little to grow their economy. With that being said, the timer ends, and Sungwoo enters the image cave with his party. Upon entering the cave, they are welcomed with a bright flash of light. A system notification appears, informing them that they have entered the large-scale dungeon called the Amugi Cave. They cannot leave until the raid is completed. There is almost no light in the dungeon, and there is a vibe of dread around them. There are some really huge, unnatural-looking trees in the Amugi Cave. A notification pops up telling them that they are on stage 1, and in order to proceed, they need to find a key for the next stage. They need to catch the shadowy mandrill that has the key and move on to the next stage. While they are moving, Hanho says that maybe that mandrill is going to be a real man with a drill. Jisoo-yun informs Hanho that mandrill refers to a monkey. Hanho asks if this word is from a foreign language, but Jisoo-yun informs him that this word is Korean, and Sungwoo, in his mind, thinks that Hanho himself is a university student of liberal arts and he doesn't know this basic stuff. Sungwoo says that facing off against monkeys in this environment is not going to be easy. He is about to say something else, but they get interrupted by a cry for help. Sungwoo says that the other factions must have gotten in contact with the monsters. It turns out that the Devil faction is fighting something. The monkeys are attacking them from the trees, but their arrows are not doing much damage to these monkeys. The monkeys are quite fast, and they are easily dodging their projectiles. The monkeys get inside the formation of one of the Devil faction squads, and they rip apart the Devil faction players into pieces. Meanwhile, the Angel faction is pinned down by the monkeys as well. The Crusaders are safe behind their shield walls, but they need to get out and bait the monkeys if they want to get the key. Not all of the monkeys will have the key, and they don't know how much losses they will suffer before they get the key. The prosecutor thinks that the quest itself is not difficult, but taking losses from the get-go will have negative impacts in the long run. All of a sudden, a notification pops up stating that the third faction has obtained the key. The prosecutor is in disbelief, as obtaining the key so fast is almost impossible.